one time.
Excuse me.
I had a timer running for 3 hours.
What color do you want to be?
Do you even know?
Huh?
What color do you want to be?
Make me blue. Make me blue.
Cool.
That matches their attire.
Yeah,
Light
true.
blue or dark blue?
Dark. Yeah, because that's what I'm using for myself. I'm downloading it now.
Okay.
Got it.
Does everyone have it? Okay. Everyone good then? Cool. Framing the standard is maximizing pleasure. First, revisionary intuitionism is true and proves utility. Yet, Kelsey A. People do much better when discussing whether choice is bad than when discussing the meaning of good and bad. Prudent moral discussing on the object of isomorality as renormalizing intuitions. Delete all intuitions and you're left with archipelago intuitions and you're left with the capers and you try to validate until you run into moral incoherence, scope, and sensitivity. People will pay the same amount to say 50,000 lies as 5,000 lies. You could think it was some incredibly deep moral truth when you reflected on enough intuitions and corrected enough absurdities such as a common denominator. More important that lies be saved in the optimal path to that destination governed by util. Second, vision and proves there's no personal identity. Part 84. One hemisphere is enough. My name is survive. I can survive with how my brain is divided. Each half is translated into one of my brothers. Each believes that gives me a personal identity is not what matters. It matters permanently divided and it's how to develop in different ways. It would be less possible to claim that the case involves only one person's products has the features of a person they can live, media, and feel to recognize each other. Third, the role of the ballot is the value to simulate cost benefits of post-grad policies covers 105. Citizen bear the obligation to debate what the government to do. Absent that political activism is lost. There's nothing we can do to debate change policy. Then we're left with little in options for addressing problems. Role playing promotes active learner path. The ability to use arguments to influence the government is a great virtue. Debate simulation. Private teaches the student that debate can make difference. Role playing teaches students to be comfortable with power. 4. Action specificity. Government need utility to form aggregates. Waller 97. Public policy entails some redistribution among competing values. Policymakers do not justify value conflicts into policies imply winners and losers. The public requires them to demonstrate that the trade-offs are to the advantage of society. Plan. Resolve the Democratic People's Republic of Korea shall eliminate its nuclear arsenal through a 3-step process of hull testing, rollback technology, and eliminates nuclear arsenal. I'm willing to concede to reasonable negative measures just asking cross motion 18. Experts on nuclear weapons drafted a 3-step plan to pursue with guarantees that the U.S. will invade North Korea or squeeze the country's economic independence. Phase approach builds trust and independence has a chance of being supported based on experience in dealing with North Korea. Phase 1 is halt. Capital control nuclear weapons suspend testing. Pledge that North Korea will not export any nuclear weapons. Phase 2 roll back, declare and reduce weapons, abandon new testing, and declare and disable all missiles. Allow inspection in the country, dismantle reaction, join the missile technology control regime. Phase 3 is eliminate all nuclear weapons. Join the treaty of the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Destroy test like destroy all missiles and eliminate plutonium, uranium. Advantage 1 is conflict. Trump's deal is vague and unenforceable. Kim Jong-un turns back on his promises, and denuclearization is unlikely. Tatum 730. New indicators including satellite image show North Korea could be building new missile work is taking place on intercontinental ballistic missile news that North Koreans are developing new weapons would be a heavy blow to Trump's effort. Pyongyang has appeared open. Trump announced that North Korea no longer poses a nuclear threat despite a lack of intelligence community as seen. Signs of continued activity, including fuel plants, continue to produce fissile material using nuclear weapons. North Korea's production capability is still intact, and restarting full eagle angers North Korea and destroys deterrence while raising tensions. Kim 19. U.S. and South Korean defense forces suspended major joint military access in hopes of advancing nuclear negotiations with North Korea. Trump said that suspending the provocative war games will save us a tremendous amount of money. The suspension will weaken the Allies' defense posture against North Korea and open gaps in deterrence. If North Korea doesn't take serious steps toward denuclearization, the Allies would resume drills, and that would draw a fierce response from North Korea. Views excesses as rehearsal for an invasion. The drills have been an invasion source of tension. North Korea putting the military on alert, weapons testing, and military training need to coax North Korea to push the nuclear disarmament process firmly forward. And North Korea's nuclear arsenals are unreliable and unpredictable. 5-1, chance 17. Nuclear weapons were developed before computer technology. Little consideration was given to cyber vulnerabilities. Nuclear weapons are a threat from hostile criminal groups and terrorist organizations. Exploiting cyber vulnerabilities, the likelihood is high and increasing. The U.S. could have infiltrated North Korea's missile system. There are a number of vulnerabilities to which a malicious act may infiltrate systems without knowledge. Human error systems fail to design vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities undermine the overall integrity of the system, and AI adds another layer of complexity. And Asian war goes nuclear. No defense, interdependence in institutions. No check. 13. Interdependence on negative for peace in Asia, Europe saw great conflicts by growing interdependent military tensions built up in the Western Pacific and regions. Power rivalry expressed itself in interstate wars and interstate conflict. Asia have begun creating institutional framework to resolve regional security challenges. Has traditionally been averse to involve the good. Major powers are not interested in internationalizing their security problem. Give other powers to handle collective security system. Otherwise, the normal sense has always been difficult to balance the power system. Is unstable and breaks down, leading to wars. There are many medium-sized powers who resent any attempt to impose order in the region. Advantage 2 is infrastructure. Status Quo 8 is ineffective sanction making it impossible for agencies to function in Health 5 Field 1216. The World Food Program, UNICEF, World Health Organization, the UN Development Program have Operation North Cuba, direct U.S. sanctions imposed on a regime following nuclear tests that made operations so difficult that agencies are pulling sanctions were not intended for them, but they have ended up being victims of Trump is about to use maximum pressure to persuade North Korea to give us a nuclear weapon sanction imposed through the Security Council. The U.S. instigation ban North Korean exports of sanctions and persistent relief activities. Crucial relief items, including medical equipment and drugs, have been held up for months. Chinese customs officials are also cracking down on shipments. They seem to have decided that's not worth the exposure or the risk of their reputation. The most vulnerable will suffer, and this army is key to lift sanction ban Buncombe 613. Trump gets to lift sanctions against North Korea for Beijing nuclearization. Trump posted tweets the world is taking big cyber act from potential nuclear catastrophe. The sanctions will come off when nukes are no longer practiced. Sanctions played a big role, but they come off at that point. I actually look forward to taking them off. Trump decided not to impose new proposed things as they would be disrespectful. And PRX 8 works in his key to development 6 war and Stacks 09. There's been success internationally in life expectancy, child survival, literacy, the Asian Green Revolution, the U.S. finance improved seeds, fertilizer, and irrigation, max success to achieve smallpox or education. WHO launched a worldwide campaign to eradicate the disease, was able to declare the world free of smallpox, child survival. UNICEF launched a campaign to the poorest countries reach at least 80% immunization coverage. First intervention are powerful, low cost. Second intervention are easy to deliver. Third intervention are applied to scale needs to solve the underlying problem. Fourth intervention are reliably funded. Fifth intervention are multilateral. Sixth intervention has specific goals so that success can be assessed. Underview. First, 1 year theory and meta theory dropped the debate. No, every 8 point chance you tune and every issue so need multiple layers to cops on B point to check and abusing compensate for all the abusive arguments you can make in the NCLs can be infinitely abused, which always second after star phase 8 point chills by theories B point after C point checks back against infinite is 3. No paradigm issues in the 2 8 point times you have 6 minutes jump on paradigm issues that make it impossible for me to win. B point normal debates only read paradigm numbers to make the 2 hard not to actually determine what issues set the best theory debates. Forcing the debates are earlier, forcing the negative. Pick the best arguments for affirming is hard 8 point. Next is tailored to the AC while I come to the round black B point. So for 60 times you means that for line infinite amount of potential to not collapse and form in some way. Case 5 rejection our theory irresolvable because it just has to about the counter-interpret and scenario analysis is pedagogically valuable, allows us to deconstruct cognitive bias and overcome conventional thinking. Problem 16. Scenario analysis is typically seen as serving policy, yet is not limited to policy. We characterize scenario analysis as the art of surprising yet plausible future alternative world scenarios are thus not simulations. Several features make scenario analysis particularly useful. The ability of decision making to imagine creating by existing mental model scenarios help break conventional thinking by introducing unusual narratives. Imagining future worlds enables policymakers to envision something different. Plus, scenario analysis provides a process for generating problem-based futures with policy realms. Participants learn strategies for avoiding failures of creativity and overturning the assumptions that prevent scholars from understanding affairs.
12 seconds.
Yeah.
First question, will you define the word states in the resolution for me?
Governments.
Alright, so that seems to be plural. Next question, does the plan text and plan involve the United States?
I don't defend that.
Alright, so I'm going to read the second line from your solvency evidence. Experts on nuclear weapons drafted a 3-step 10-year plan for Trump, which is not highlighted, to pursue with Kim. Would you defend Donald Trump's involvement with the plan?
I mean, no.
Okay, so how does he have solved? Since all your evidence is saying the U.S. needs to guarantee it won't invade North Korea.
Just because the solvency advocate says like Trump might be involved in it doesn't mean that like this specific plan has to involve Trump.
Okay, I have another question. So, you read this cyber scenario that indicates like North Korea is vulnerable to cyber attacks. What evidence indicates that cyber attacks actually escalate to an Asia war?
The argument is that we're like on the brink right now. We're so fragile, and there's like no regional security framework to be able to resolve anything. So if anything does go wrong, then it goes nuclear.
Yeah, but what evidence shows that? Like, what evidence says that? I understand the claims you're making. I'm asking for evidence.
Do you want me to read Tatum and Kim again?
No, because
like,
that card
both of them explain why tensions are like extremely high.
Okay, so because North Korea gets cyber attacked, they start nuking everyone. Are you saying you think North Korea is that irrational?
No, the chance evidence indicates that there's like 5 different scenarios for which things could go wrong.
I have another question. What happens with North Korea's nukes when they get rid of them?
Do you want me to defend something?
No, I'm saying like, what is like the core consensus of the literature say that they would do with them? Obviously, I don't think you should specify something since that would make you extra topical.
They just like eliminate them, take them apart and stuff.
Okay, so we don't really know where they go. I have a question on the sanctions advantage.
Sure.
First, if I win a util dissad that hurts more lives, does that outweigh the advantage?
What do you mean, like, hurts more lives?
Like, your impact is just like, it's really bad for people in North Korea. If I win a dissad that has a larger scope, does that outweigh the advantage?
Like, it hurts more people in North Korea?
Yeah, would that outweigh under util? No, like, it just hurts more people in general, since util says we should maximize
Well, it depends on, like, the degree to which they're hurt.
Okay, I have a second question about this advantage. Is there anything intrinsic to North Korea possessing nuclear weapons that require sanctions to be imposed on them?
Well, the Five-field evidence indicates that the reason they have sanctions is because of nuclear tests.
Okay. Another question. What nations or international actors have sanctions on North Korea and the status quo?
The UN, it's like a lot of multilateral stuff, but the US is the main one. That's like...
Alright, what other multilateral organizations?
There's multilateral, but they're like don't really have any impact aside from the US. The US
Okay.
has like a ton of sanctions.
Alright, we're good. No prep. I'm going to send the 1 and C now.
Five.
Yeah, it'll be 5 off. And then case in the order of the underview, the sanctions advantage, and the advantage about like North Korean nukes being bad.
Underview, sanctions, and then first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are we starting with this?
The underview.
Alright.
Hey Matt, where's the top part of this?
This.
Thanks. Is anyone not ready?
I'm good.
T, the affirmative should defend that multiple states eliminate their nuclear arsenals. That was Matt's definition in cross-X. Vote negative 1 is limited, creates 9 possible laughs rather than 4 or 5, which in massive explodes. Prep 2, glad it turns, goes away, which is core negative guard. I also lose case specific defense and proves that Matt spikes the core topic debates. Fairness is a vote for the better debater, not a better cheater. Education is also voted okay. Let's us to translate our political advocacy and knowledge and to real advocacy. And they'll say, obvious, you don't get a cookie for doing what you're supposed to. A, obvious or illogical and should not be evaluated. Logic always its foundation of any debate. B, chills T, obvious discourage. Reading T against clearly non-topical laughs like theirs. And I had to take time to read the show, which means even if it's bad, it doesn't take any time to beat. But if it's good, I deserve to win on it. And you can win on theory, just read your own show. There's no reason both teams should win on the same theory. I can obvious debate frivolous theory because good theory debates will just do frivolous things. And be theory. There's also a jurisdictional effect. You clearly just can't vote for the app if it's not topical. Next up, every reliable indicator proves Democrats take the House, but it's close. Scott 724. Premier election forecast to change when it proves 17 House districts all in favor of Den's little generic batch quietly doubled since June to us healthy some when Den's have been very strong funding and they look like soft favorites. The House battlefield equals 16 districts. They can win less and have pulled it off. Minority party gains in midterms election. Fact like Trump's spider economic indicators is pretty popular. Trump claims credit for the plan even if he's not involved with it, which causes midterm victories. Belvedere 430. Trump is on a roll that the Cowboy Republicans in the midterm classic art of the deal president scared everybody. Now he's in position to deal certainly, but then leaders comparing their budgets. The market will love that thawing. 6 states of animosity should be Trump, which got a great deal on growth in the midterm. On the flip side, acknowledging those of Kim, saying all the right things without living up to promises. Trump really values the skills of deal maker giveaway, the store for a Nobel Prize in democratic ways, symbolically delegitimacy Trumpian populism, short of the liberal order. Fukuyama 17. Populist parties across the world threaten the liberal order. What the elected they succeed depends on U.S. American. Was critical in establishing order in the U.S. retreats, the pendulum will swing quickly in favor of national Trump's attacks and indecision. Modest success things could change where the Republicans experience a setback of 2018. Trump might go down as an aberration. This is polarization. The institutional checks have significant damage. Outside the U.S., the populist surge has to play Hungary, Poland, Germany, late pampers of the world reigning for interesting tides, and that shows extinction day. Wall 16. Better for populism to failure. We are unpicking the liberals. What does a world and global war look like the states? Shaking lips and bolding middle and every advantage is proud threatening. With nuclear to add reactionary populism resembles war and democracy, unit of trade wars, territorial disputes, liberal multi-lab, wins through negotiation cabal, above the theory of cosmopolitan liberal Russia, China, Turkey, bring a facade of civilian war. They wouldn't wear the importance of maintaining public goods, including the future plan remain evergreen. It outweighs the app because it just acts as a category larger win. Like democratic duets also solve uncertainty towards North Korea because our policy would be consistent. Next off, the plan opens up a nuclear Pandora's box which would cause this nuclear chase. I'm blocking 18. Kim commitment to denuclearize could open up the world to administrative inspection by the IAEA. Would have to play the list of nuclear states with a major challenge to take his word to scour the country for additional sites and pass North Korea agreed inspection backed out and may uncount for nuclear floating on even after denuke begins. Thousands of scientists and engineers are employed. The scientists would proliferate of deadly knowledge of other states or terrorists. That causes extinction. Marvel 14. Tech can provide people with weapons that even more struggling than those held in a single individual could kill billions of possible kill every man, woman, and child on Earth. The endangered residents state who's been in turn to gain access to nuclear weapons. The ultimate response to a nuclear attack is a nuclear counterattack. Market counterattack outweighs some probability. Terrorists are irrational, so conventional defenses apply. Hair trigger alert system mean nations scapegoat each other, and also undermines app knowledge and solvency based nuclear weapon knowledge still exists. Next up, North Korea disarmament may cause this regime collapse. Miso Kami 18. Kim would be giving up the one thing that keeps him from being buried alive in a bunker by American aircraft. The administration thinking gone back upon their law of grievances, hog tanks they had, unless North Korea gets rid of all of them could be the pretext for a hardline North Korea's Trump card against military actions, nuclear weapons, and survival of the regime. South Africa's national security advisor suggested the Libyan model state collapses causes CBWs and U.S. China war causing on a 17. There would be a media concern of a much larger CBW stock by U.S. forces. We need a present challenge to locate these materials by projecting chemical or bioweapon attacks by forces financed by Beijing would also apply the CCP greatest wars that collapse of North Korean state of millions of refugees coming across the border. Xi would send his own forces with superpowers. Showdown could be the offering. Bioweapons cause extinction. Standard rate. Advanced and synthetic bio make it possible to engineer pathogens capable of extinction level and knowledge equipment materials are more accessible. Pathogens are self-lifting in small arcs to become exponentially destroyed. Release of pathogens with high transmissibility, latency and lethality may cause human extinction and outweighs some probability and magnitude. Bioweapons with only external impact. Biological innovations means spreads quick without defense. U.S.-China war causes extinction. Winter 11. While nuclear weapons exist, there would be a danger of the current U.S.-China relation might not provide another example. Gathering tension between the U.S. and China's clear U.S. government need to challenge China's change to the SAS needs in the nuclear war. There's signs that occurred. A nuclear attack would instead of slaughter of at least 10 million megawatts of Chinese death toll. Nuclear would be far radioactive. 3 would bring on a nuclear winter destroying accident world famine, generate chaos and destruction outweighs. China and the U.S. have more nukes than North Korea, which means it kills more people. Next up. The United States federal government and all other relevant international actors should permanently lift sanctions on the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. It solves the second advantage. There's nothing intrinsic to nukes which require that we have sanctions on them. Also means that the Af can't solve the Af. If you read their solve the evidence says the U.S. should take actions. Underview. Spikes are bad and should not be valued. 1. These are potential arcs, not real arcs. I can't predict how they will apply, which means I can re-clarify spikes to avoid my answers. This was specified new 2 and our response is 2 of the line. These are blippy if they can't extend the same word. Don't vote on 3. Reject the argument that team magnitude of abuse should justify magnitude of punishment. Rejecting the argument mitigates you. Over punishing is bad, creates perverse incentives, make all debates about theory which crowds out education. All answer times you since the arguments rely on it's either inevitable because of 7 force you or not an impact because we both 13 minutes. Either way, abuse is self-imposed by you refusing to answer my args. Reject 1 ER 3 to 8 times Q. They get 2 speeches in 7 minutes, only get 6. The front line, which means always be ahead. B. Judge intervention in response to my counter to what we knew in the 2AC. No CX after the 1A. This lets him read absurd shots that couldn't survive a CX. And 3. Yes, paradigm issues. Times was answered above norming is an impact since camp lines don't spill out its key to the after just evolving. Every day to theory negating is harder. 1 to judge psychology after its first and less speech, which has a disproportionate impact. 2 strategy. 2 and R is to multi-point everything will just go for the one thing I mess up on. And subject they pick it all my positions to reaction I'll concede. They don't get new 2 and R 3. I've already made those arguments now. Sanctions advantage. The counter plan definitely solves that was above the dissats outweigh on the util since it just kills more people. On to the other advantage. The martial evidence. They don't do any of the things martial advocate, which means they're solved. And North Korean nukes are rational. Kaplan Bigger 13. North Korea's dismisses crazy, but North Korea's nuclear program makes sense. And the American behavior toward Libya Gaddafi again was given nuclear points. U.S. orders to Gaddafi intervene, and empirics provocations don't escalate. Taylor 15. North Korea's scenarios will go into considerable division and ridiculous and more you cried wolf situation. North Korea threatened to attack U.S. many times. Shortlist in 2014, 2013, 2009, 2002, 2005. These pan-capitalist threats made against South Pyongyang reportedly more indicator so to a CFI. There's no, and there's an internal link disconnect. A. There's no evidence, no miscalculus, a causal internal link to war. B. There's no explanation how it's supposed to Asia there. Statement evidence is just in the context of cybersecurity, but they don't have any evidence it escalates. It doesn't. Levicki 14. History of cyber attacks does not suggest a cyber attack will be followed by anything the Russian attacks on Estonia, Israel on a nuclear facility in Syria. The U.S. response to Iran unaccompanied by war like a raid and a war the target is not so certain by who did not certainly ability to convince third parties who did validate responsible to the risk of an escalation until auto against him. And B. No cyber attacks, no motive, and we just steal nuclear secrets at worst. 17. It is very, very unlikely these sophisticated hackers or state-based and difficult to see why they would cause a nuclear launch. They have woken up to the possibility and begun to include in their planning. No country benefits from hackers causing inadvertent and mistaken nuclear use. The cyber firm were new and super than biggest with cyber nuclear espionage stealing. Nuclear secrets, C attacks are too large. Slate 17. Widespread claims about cyberspace are fundamentally flawed decision because believe the probability of success will shape behavior effects and make cyber offense costly. Tech alone does not determine the battle's cost. Go through the complexity and offensive operation to control a system difficult and costly than offensive advantage to diminish rapidly. Go back the knowledge of physical system needs cyber weapons or expensive Windows systems to charge it. Go back up mad checks Korea conflict reign 17. Despite neutral abolishing the factory means a preemptive strike would have catastrophic consequences with the regime, and Pyongyang is fully aware to be destroyed in direct confrontation. Despite that, there are major limits for the U.S. to act preemptively with people around in soul and revenge trying to disincentive for use and more mutually assured destruction. Cross X.
Well, you delete what you didn't read.
Yeah. Before Cross X, I did not read Oligapa.
Hold on.
I did not read Hirsch. Let me see.
Where's Hirsch?
It's the last card. It says no cyber terror. And then on the terror disad, I marked the impact card at nuclear counterattack.
Oh, wait, so you didn't read Hirsch or Alicopter? Okay.
And some of the analytics were either made on other pages or just not made, but none of the ones that were not made were particularly important.
Okay. Ready for cross X?
Yeah.
Okay. Status of the counter plan.
Unconditional.
Okay. Do you contest? Actually, do you ever negate like the plan text?
Well, yeah. The one in C was a negation of the plan text.
Okay, wait. Let's talk about the fourth disarm. Why does North Korea disarmament cause regime collapse?
Because the only reason the U.S. hasn't invaded North Korea is because they know they have nuclear weapons. This is empirically proven by Libya.
Wait. What if the AF says like we don't nuke you or anything? Then does that?
Well, you don't get to specify that. I think that would be abusive, and new one-year reclarifications are bad. Also, like you setting cross-ex that the U.S. is not involved with the plan means definitely doesn't apply.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about chemical and biological weapons. Are biological weapons subject to stuff like, let's say, burnout?
No. The evidence is actually pretty good and indicates that pathogens are self-replicating, and you could engineer certain pathogens with high transmissibility and lethality that would not be susceptible.
If everyone
to
dies of the bioweapon, then why does it work? Then why does it kill people?
Because you can engineer them so that it spreads so rapidly that everyone just dies like weeks after it gets launched.
How do you do that?
Well, I'm not a.
How are terrorists like that
What?
advanced? How can terrorists do stuff that advanced?
Well, it's not terrorists. It's that North Korea has bioweapons now, and that those bioweapons that their scientists design.
Do you prove that they're extremely effective like that?
Yeah. The The Sandberg evidence indicates that advances in synthetic biology mean there are new innovations that have already happened. I mean, if a bioweapon was to be launched on a large amount of people, it could certainly cause extinction.
Why would North Korean scientists why would they sell state secrets and stuff?
Let's see. Let me go to. The evidence is pretty good and indicates that bioweapons would just become loose. That's the mesokami evidence, which means that anyone could take advantage of it and use it, such as factional sectors. The evidence I read on the terrorism dissad.
Why do bioweapons become loose?
Because North Korea would no longer be stable, which means their bioweapons would not be secure. The evidence I read on the terrorism dissad could also probably apply here, because it says North Korean scientists would lose their jobs if and that would also happen in a world of state collapse, which means they could just easily give it to a group such as a terrorist in order to make a quick buck since they would need money.
Wait, why would they do that?
Because they're corrupt and they see it as a way to make a lot of money, since people will pay lots of money to get bioweapons.
Okay, cool.
Or they could see it as a way to defeat an opposing faction by launching a bioweapon at them.
Can the Republicans pass their agenda and stuff like that if Democrats are winning the Senate?
The evidence just indicates it delegitimizes Trump internationally, which is key to shore up the liberal order, which solves a litany of conflicts.
Okay, cool. Prep starting now. Wait, time. That was 2:37. I also in the dock. Okay. So the order will be T, F, bioweapons. Okay, so T, F, the bioweapons disad. Then it'll be scientists and midterms and counterclaim last.
Did it over one more time?
Okay, yeah, sorry. T, F, regime collapse, then nuke terror, counter, and then the midterms, and then counter plan.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, everyone good? Counter by the other 2018 VBI18 on top of the information specialized save that solves gap violation enemy sends one resolvable rounds are irresolvable absent target country because we can about the effects of elimination independent voter because round used when I was on my team probably absent target country. There is zero risk of any form of engagement since you don't know your arguments so you don't know about defend elimination in the country with nukes are now a country that reaches preliminary which means 7 minutes speech time. The rest stays more for more engaged solves gap is a limited for the firm being the topic of solves the problem predictability limits and also defend elimination of nuclear arsenal which is still topical and get can be reasonably with the right line have solves gap which are linking in back turn structural solves gap out with solves limits comes all link in back turn like no screen disarmament cause simple to you good ground specific right which means that with it reason to build arguments on specificity now so the line first their interpretations multiple say that still turn the limits argument against them their interpretation justifies any permutation either they could justify US and Russian US or China or anything like that which makes it even worse. There's only 9 potential possibilities under my interpretation. Second, you're literally my Google Drive which solves all your opposites now the ground argument. First you still get good ground like deterrence so you just need to be more specific. Second you still get case defense in this round you register on case defense on me now the app. Overview on the stuff. They made an overview on the first adventure. They make a ton of arguments on hacking, but they have conceded the 4 other links into miscal. First is AI, second is human error, third is system failure, fourth is design vulnerability. If I wouldn't even risk linking to any of these, you can auto vote from no case. Always they only go for hacking. I'll just concede defense on that. Now, that which means there's definitely still a risk of nuclear attack. Now they say there's an internal link disconnect. The first and second arguments they completely concede the Mohan and the Mohan Tatum and Kim evidence, which indicate that we are on the brink right now, which means conflict is pretty much inevitable. Now the Kaplan evidence they say that North Korean nukes are irrational and afraid of Iran and stuff like that. They say North Korean nukes are rational and stuff like that. But miscal outweighs if there's even a risk of miscalculation, then that means that it doesn't matter if people are rational or not because there's gonna be some miscalculation. It doesn't matter whether or not people don't want to go to war. It's a question of if they might go to war. Now the Taylor evidence they say provocation are going to escalate. You should prefer my evidence that always on reason the Tatum and Kim evidence are from like last month, which independently always your arguments. Now you say match check conflict, but it definitely doesn't miscal. Classify why miscal always now extend the Tatum, Kim, and Chance and Mohan evidence. We are on the brink of nuclear conflict right now with North Korea, which means that the affirmative is necessarily key to being able to resolve this. Now the regime collapse is sad. They say North Korean disarmament causes regime collapse, but they've conceded from the plan text that the affirmative is uniquely key to being able to resolve this. The affirmative creates solidarity and creates solidarity and support is extremely stable. They have conceded this from the plan text that independently takes out the link base. Second, they say that the US is going to attack with it. The plan also involves that the US is forced to not attack North Korea. That is part of a treaty that they signed. That's phase 2 of the rollback treaty. Now they say the chemical, biological weapons happen and stuff like that, but first disease burnout is impossible for them to cause 16 Gerber 5. A pathogen will spread when it's able to transmit before host eliminates the effects of the parasite. Affects the mortality result of the parasite. Reduces density susceptible hosts. The chances susceptible hosts become effective proportion of the density of an infected host. A host-specific pathogen cannot drive a host to 60 seconds. They don't establish internally that establishes that North Korean scientists have super advanced bioweapons and stuff like that. Second, nuclear worse than any other weapon is assessed present for other disarmament. Shot 429. Nuclear arms displayed in the inaccuracy of universally accepted legal rules. They are the quintessential indiscriminate weapon of unnecessary suffering and superfluous harm to the human whole attributed to chemical weapons. All conflicts with non-proliferation of nuclear weapons is also fundamentally effective force of a ban on chemical weapons. That independently takes out your arguments. You say that it causes extinction, but I already answered this argument. There doesn't outweigh probability and magnitude. The case outweighs because it affects way more people now. The other dissent. They say the plan opens new terrorism, but there's no link. Your own author concludes that there's no risk of public because it's safe and phase denuclearization, Log 18. Certain to say the problem can be managed looking at the sex of post-war Cold War era. The world has spent 9% of nuclear weapons safety nuclearization can be accepted with proper planning. Now the midterms decide. Okay. First, no link. The plan takes a long time. The plan takes indicates 6 to 10 years, which means because of phase denuclearization, we can't just destroy infrastructure and stop producing material in 4 months. Trump can't take credit for the affirmative second chart. I never specified that the U.S. works with the Tatum indicates the North Korea is going against Trump's plan, which kills peace even further since he's incompetent and unable to negotiate. North Korea and working with China or something. The Republicans are ahead in the Senate race now. Martin 6-2. Senate Republicans feel hopeful about retaining majority. Trump is enjoying increasing his approval ratings this year and attacking Democrats rather than signing fees that could just Republican return that. And on the counterplan permutation to the affirmative, the counterplan is just a part of the act. I stopped reading like halfway through Martin. But I read
Where's halfway?
Oh wait. Oh sorry. It's at Republicans already on the offensive thanks to the Senate map that includes 10 Democratic House seats. That's where I stopped.
Point me to a line in the app that talks about miscalculation external from cybersecurity.
The chance evidence.
Can you read me a line, since I don't have it pulled up?
There are a number of vulnerabilities through which a malicious actor may infiltrate a system without knowledge.
So infiltrate a system sounds like cybersecurity.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think human error and stuff like that means that is necessarily key to like infiltration and stuff.
All right. When does the process of the plan begin?
I'll defend immediate.
All right. Alright, there's gonna be a few cards that I might read, so I'm going to send those now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna send it in the doc if that's fine with everyone. T. T. Terradisad.
Which one's terror?
The like scientists give nukes to terrorists and it causes nuclear terror.
That's the one with Locky at the top,
Yes.
right? Okay.
The chemical and bioweapons disad. Counter plan. Midterms disad. Half.
And there's a doc.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Lost
that
the
road,
doc, sorry.
that like map was really long. Could you just like signpost
Yes.
and slow down?
So I'll just say it again. But
Okay.
T,
Yeah.
the terrorism disad, the chemical and bioweapons disad, the counter plan, the midterms disad, and then the app.
Okay.
Oh, gross. Who puts cards in the body of the email? Shame.
My mouse is really unhappy with you. First you were late, and then the cards and body.
25 speaks.
25 speaks.
I wrote it in.
Is anyone not ready? T, I'm not going for it. Matt has an argument how it's an independent voter. They've conceded that RBIs are illogical and that always because logic is the foundation of the debate means it's not. No two-way offense terrorism to say I'm not going for it. I'll concede the countering of the Locky evidence next to said I'm not going for it. I'll concede that there's no impact to bioweapons. But Star, this argument, one of his answers is that the plan would involve a U.S. commitment, which means it magnifies the link to the midterm disadvantage because the U.S. would be involved with the plan and with the plan, which means Trump gets to claim credit for it and solves the midterm. Don't let it allow for new two-way reclarifications because I don't get a 3 in our hold. Matt to his words in the 1 year they counterplan just extend that it solves the second advantage, which means he can go for its independent offense. Go on to the midterm disadvantage. Now this disadvantage is effectively conceded. I'll get to that in a second, but the Scott evidence indicates that Democrats will certainly retake the House. Now they have a number of indicators all going their way, such as a recent CNN analysis, the generic ballot finally raising a favorable battle for the empirics and Trump's popularity. All of those reasons also prove that they probably win the Senate as well, but I only need to win that they'll win a single House, since the Fukuyama evidence indicates that merely causing Republican setbacks in 2018 would mean that it delegitimizes liberalism globally and means that populist candidates can't win in places such as Russia, Turkey, France, and so on. The plan would flip that the devil evidence was not the answer very well and is absolutely fantastic. It indicates that Trump would claim the plan is securing follow-on for his nuclear commitments. It says right now North Korea has made vague promises of nuclear disarmament but hasn't actually committed to anything. The plan, even if it doesn't involve the U.S., would be seen as North Korea acceding to U.S. demands, which means that Trump takes credit for it. Don't allow for new two-way arguments about how the Trump wouldn't get tied to Trump. Trump takes credit for literally everything. I think that's proven time and time again. He would probably send off a bunch of tweets about how he got Kim Jong-un. He was the man to get Kim Jong-un to finally get rid of his nuclear weapons, which means everybody would love him. It would send the stock market soaring, whether he conceded where it means that everyone would see Trump as securing, and he would win a Nobel Peace Prize, which means he looks like the peacemaker and globally. But that's catastrophic. It means that it sets a precedent for the global emergence of populism, allows the U.S. to withdraw from the international order, causes other states to follow it. People such as Le Pen and France and extremists in Hungary have all been in response to the Trumpian movement that collapses the liberal order that set the foundation for peace for hundreds for over 70 years a day. Wall evidence is absolutely fantastic and indicates that the liberal order provides a way for states to work out disputes and manage international tensions, which independently solves the entirety of the collapse of liberalism. Means states resort to nationalist tensions, which is exactly what caused both world wars. They have conceded that always the because they kill just categorically more people. They've also conceded the analysis at the bottom about how democratic gains would solve the uncertainty over North Korea's Democrats would have a consistent foreign policy towards North Korea. The first argument Matt goes for is how there's no link because the plan would take over 10 years. Look and prep time. There's a reason why I asked if he will defend immediate implementation. The immediate implementation of the plan means that North Korea makes a certain commitment to nuclear disarmament, which definitely secures which definitely means that it would be perceived as securing fall. And the argument isn't that North Korea needs to totally get rid of their nukes, but rather that North Korea actually making a firm commitment to disarmament is exactly what causes the link. I'll read more evidence here. Not securing North Korea following causes midterm losses. The plan flip side causes a red wave. Day 528. Success with North Korea retain control of the Congress that seemed to gods and could turn into a curse if it stays off its bad inflammatory statements have been the most unappealing of Trump's office peace deal boost. Approval making far less of a drag. If he pulls it off, could be a red wave instead of a blue wave. There's no question the president getting credit among independent voters might lose them to Trump's camp because they consider his actions good for the country. This evidence also implicitly answers the argument because it says Trump just needs to secure a deal, which was exactly what the plan would do. Since there's not a deal now, there's second argument is that North Korea would say that they were cooperating with China, going against Trump. Cross-apply the argument I made on the other diss side, which proves that Matt can't go for this argument independently. It's particularly unlikely given that they've already been negotiating with the U.S. means it would be definitely perceived as the U.S. taking credit even if he is tied to China. Or another, the last argument is that the GOP will win the Senate. Now that's irrelevant since I just we need to win. Did the Democrats make major gains? That was the argument at the top of the flow. Secondly, is that I've just read evidence indicating that the plan causes a red wave, which means even if the GOP gets a Senate, the plan could possibly lead them to get a supermajority or something, which would definitely validate Trumpian populism. And additionally, all of the warrants for why Democrats would win the Senate would also apply to Republicans. Since there's a Trump being massively unpopular, driving massive turnout among Democratic voters, the plan would necessarily flip. That means those voters would not turn out because they'd be happy with Trump. Republican voters would turn out more because they'd see Trump as doing exactly what they want to do. Yeah, I didn't read the other cards since that stuff was all dropped. Going to the F. There's just a couple arguments here that mean that Matt can't possibly weigh any offense in the two-way. Or first is that the app doesn't solve it. If you can see the analytic I made at the top of the flow about how the evidence says that they need a long actually skip that argument. The first argument, since Matt said that the U.S. would be involved, means maybe he gets access to solvency, but causes linked to metrics. First is that Matt solves the impact that was Iran evidence against North Korea would never go to war with any other countries because they know they would be annihilated, which means that North Korea getting rid of their nukes uniquely flips it because they no longer exist a turn against nuclear weapons. It means that a new war becomes exponentially more likely. That's a turn on, and that's a turn. Secondly, is the Taylor evidence, which indicates cyber attacks will escalate. Look to the prep time. All of the warrants he talks about in his cards are about cyber attacks. The Taylor evidence answers it by saying that they won't miscalculate because we can never determine who the attack was attributed to, which means we would never retaliate since we couldn't convince the international community that the retaliation was justified since we couldn't prove who it was. He doesn't have a card that says that would happen. The third argument is that there would be no the third argument is that there would never be cyber attacks. No one has a motive to cause cyber attacks. If they know that it would cause a nuclear catastrophe, then they would never do it in the first place. The photo evidence indicates that at worst we would just steal nuclear secrets. The cyber stuff is conceded, which means like even if my explanation isn't the best, it's still the basis of his advantage and something that just isn't answered. He tries to go for this imaginary miscalc scenario that just doesn't have an evidentiary basis.
How much time did I have?
I think you have 123.
Okay, starting now. AF, and then the regime collapse argument, and then midterms. Okay, is everyone ready?
I'm sorry, what do you think?
After regime collapse, then midterms. Okay. Everyone good? Okay. Key framing issue. They've conceded the Tatum and Kim evidence which indicate that we are on the brink of nuclear conflict right now. They also conceded the Mohan evidence which indicates that there's no regional security framework, which means that if literally anything happens, that means there's going to be inevitable nuclear conflict, i.e. South Korea could like launch fireworks or something. North Korea will launch a nuke at it. They have conceded the four scenarios for miscalculation, AI, human error, system failures, and time vulnerability. These do not rely on hacking, i.e. if North Korean people who are at the controls of the nuke see something in South Korea, then they're more likely to launch a nuke because that does not need cyber hacking, that does not need hacking or anything like that, which means that the plan outweighs. They have conceded it. Everyone conceded the affirmative 100% strength of link. None of their answers actually answer the affirmative, which means you can auto vote app on risk of link because the affirmative is most likely to be true. Now the dissad. They have conceded the Shabazz evidence which indicates that nukes are able to suffer chemical and biological weapons as well, which means the affirmative solves for more than just nuclear conflict. We also suffer chemical and biological warfare as well, which means that we independently away on everything like that. It means that we're not going to have any more nuclear weapons or chemical or biological weapons in the first place, which means that the affirmative is a really, really good idea. Now the dissad. Now the midterms. Overview. My argument is not that North Korea does the plan with the U.S., but rather that the U.S. does not attack North Korea as per the second part of the affirmative, which means that there's definitely no link to which means that there's definitely no link. They say that Trump is just going to take credit for literally everything, but he has conceded my argument. My argument is not that the U.S. is going to necessarily work with North Korea to actually be able to disarm everything. Rather, it's that the U.S. is going to promise not to attack anything. That means that Trump isn't going to be able to take any credit for this. He's also conceded the Tatum evidence, which indicates that Trump's political credit is getting absolutely destroyed right now because his deal has done nothing. North Korea is still building nuclear arsenals and stuff like that. That independently takes out the link debate. That's the turn I made. He's also conceded the argument that China or some other external actor could work with North Korea to be able to resolve anything, which means that Trump isn't going to be able to do anything. How is Trump going to make tweets about him saving the world and stopping North Korea if it means that if China's working with North Korea or anything like that? And step back, I would say that actually turns the argument because it makes sure that Trump is never actually going to get any PC in the first place. Even if I am losing the link debate on midterms, you can definitely vote affirmative because case outweighs first is scope of the affirmative. If war goes nuclear, then that kills literally every single person in the entire world, or at least it kills a large majority of the people that independently always. They don't do any impact calc in the 2 hours, which means you can auto vote on any way I make on this, even if you think it's really bad. Now it also weighs until because nuclear weapons affect literally every single thing. It affects humans as well as non-human life, which independently always, i.e. animals, where there are way more animals than humans, which means animal suffering independently always on pure quantity. It also always on reversibility because as soon as you launch a nuclear weapon, then that means that it's pretty much impossible to be able to reverse it. It's pretty much impossible to be able to reverse it. Radiation completely destroys the ecosystem forever, which makes it impossible to be able to do anything. So, case outweighs. They concede a turn, which is the Shabazz evidence, which indicates no chemical or biological warfare in the first place. Even if it's true that the affirmative, that the dissad might cause some extinction, if I win any defense on that, then I vote AF on risk.
Good round.
Good round.
Warren, so you're trying to film the RFDs too?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, we got a decision. Yeah, Justin finally leaves. Ryan, you still there?
Ryan.
Buddy?
Wait, I can text him.
Alright.
Where did Ty go?
Oh yeah, we need him too, don't we?
Spoilers.
Oh, I'm not saying yes to the decision. I'm saying yes to the.
Oh yeah. That was the goal.
Whoopsies.
If you refresh the page of this one, you also get to see it. The one that, as of submission, says like decision made. That's it.
Shut up,
This is actually hilarious.
No, it
That's
isn't.
actually hilarious.
It's horrible.
How? Oh my god.
It's like all I had in me when I saw this decision to not. But now that everyone else is there, I feel totally good.
I'm convinced I'm right.
Okay. Bend yourself in to the audience. Whenever Ty gets back. Where is Ty?
I don't know.
See it in the hallway.
Oh, I don't remember. To be honest.
Does anyone have his just raw mind message him, I
Yeah,
guess?
that's what I do.
Lawrence, this is the reason why I shouldn't be on the
Nope.
final. I can't be trusted.
And?
The camp tournament is so important to these kids.
I'll just make sure to message Nick again just in case he forgot.
That's cool.
I think Ty may have just died or something.
We should put a deadline for getting back to the room on time. Never too late for a DQ.
Oh.
Oh, Saranya picked up.
Yeah, she did. She's in finals.
Okay, he says it's on
Nice.
his way.
One of you two should announce it.
No. I think you should announce it.
Should I announce
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Are we speaking first anyway?
All right. The decision was a 2-1 for the negative. I sat, obviously. I actually think there is I think I was right. Okay, so this is why I affirm. I think Matthew is right on the AF case, like the issue about how you conceded a bunch of internal links. I pulled up the evidence. It does say human error. It says systems failure. It says design vulnerabilities. None of these things have to do with hacking at all. So I think Matthew wins like 100% strength of link because you didn't. Yeah. So and then he's also extending all this Brink stuff. All the 2N goes for is like no code would never go for war or cyber attacks would never happen. You don't go for any like impact defense. You only go for link defense to the wrong links. So I think that the 2AR has like 100% strength of link on that advantage. The other sources of offense in the round are the bioweapons advantage. I also think you did concede the turn. I think Shabazz did say, like I caught that in the 1AR, the evidence clearly says that this is key to also deterring chemical weapons. So I think Matthew also gets access to the impact on bioweapons, and then the 2N kicked it. So that's like another way that's offense for the AF. On midterms, I think that I agree with Matthew that there is a nuance in the way that the U.S. gets involved. That I don't think the 1AR conceded that the U.S. will like work with North Korea to like get rid of to get rid of nukes. I think the arguments about China and external actors, and that turn was there very clearly in the 1AR. And so, like, the only argument you have is this, like, Trump would claim credit for it, but I think there is, like, a bit of link defense there, so I don't think that you're as far ahead on this as he is on the AC. Also, I think that this was very clearly labeled as a turn. The one thing that, I guess, gave me pause is that you had this, like, weighing argument for where, like, it solves the entirety of the AF, and it means that it solves everything about North Korea, but I think that Matthew goes for like risk of link arguments where he solves better, and I also don't think that was in the NC, and given that it is a comparative argument to the AC, I cannot vote off of it if it's new in the 2. So I vote off of the AF case.
Okay, I can go. Starting with the bioweapon stuff, I suppose it is offense in the sense that there's like a card that asserts something unwarranted is kind of something given that it's a qualified author. More importantly, though, is you read impact defense, so I'm not sure what the terminal impact is. If you explain like what residual impact remains of like bioweapons still causing some sort of disease could help you here. But you do the exact opposite of that, which is you say extinction outweighs on the nuclear war debate, any risk reversibility, etc., which seems to all cut against voting on a DA with impact defense that is not existential in nature. Because you said nuclear war comes first, and so the 2 advantage and DA arguments that have a nuclear war impact obviously should outweigh that. The AC, I guess I'm not as sold that all these are independent internal links as Lavanya is. Most of the lines you're referencing, like design and system failures, do seem to be in the context of cybersecurity, especially if you look at the rest of the sentences you're not highlighting. The word human error maybe is different. I honestly don't know because it is only the 2 words human error. The AI stuff certainly is about cybersecurity. So it seems like the card is largely explaining reasons why like cybersecurity could fail. But if he wins arguments like there's no motivation for people to attack in the first place, it seems like things like design vulnerabilities are irrelevant because people want to exploit them. I thought there was potentially an independent link argument in the Kim evidence, if you'd explained it, about like if North Korea stops its strategy for nuclear disarmament, that causes like the U.S. and South Korea to resume military training exercise or whatever it was. Nonetheless, that wasn't one of the ones you listed off as your dropped internal links. You just listed off the links that were from the cybersecurity card. More importantly than any of that, though, is you just like drop the mad turns, like status quo, no war because mutual assured destruction checks. You get rid of that. Given the impact scenario is not like North Korea needs to use nukes, it's just like North Korea causes a conflict in Asia and that escalates to nuclear war. It seems like even a conventional war caused by mad breakdown still accesses your impact. So it seems like a pretty solid turns. Status quo stable deterrent to prevent that. So I don't know, it might even rise to the level of net offense in the AC. I also think you're pretty far behind the midterms DA. The link argument, or the link defense in the 2AR, I think is pretty solid on explaining why your answer to the other DA is not an additional link. Like, I didn't say Trump proactively gets involved, just say he doesn't attack them. But it doesn't proactively take the initial link at all, which is just he's going to take credit if North Korea denuclearizes. The fact that he also promises not to attack them, I'm not sure how that would undermine in any way the initial negative claim, which is if North Korea denuclearizes after Trump has been asking them to politely and impolitely for a few months, he's going to absolutely say, yeah, I did that, and people will believe him. That seems like an argument. I'm not sure what the answer is to that from your analytic. The argument you make after that, in fact, I think is you just get this argument backwards, and you make a neg argument for him, which is your evidence says Trump is not perceived as credible now because the deal is failing. Yes, that is the negative uniqueness argument, which is in the status quo, Trump does not have legitimacy, and you shore that up. So yeah, in addition to the negative link, I think you've given him another one. And then lastly, all the weighing seems largely moot because it's just nuke war outweighs a nuke war DA. So I don't know what I'd do with that. It's not really a reason you outweigh anything. I don't know how much access the neg gets to like the solves the case stuff, because it's just, I think it literally was just like the line like Democrats have a more certain policy towards North Korea. I don't understand what that means or why that solves anything. More plausibly, I think all this like populism bad stuff totally turns the terminal impact, because like all the warrants in his impact card are like liberal internationalism, multilateral institutions, interdependence in trade, which you just said all get eroded in the world of the F. I think that's the way that the DA probably turns the case, but I don't think he said that. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short. I think Neil said a lot of things I wanted to say. I don't think there's much of a discussion of the affirmative case after the 1AC, which makes me really uncomfortable voting, or like makes me like really like wary of this like weighing that you try to go for on the dis side. I also think that this mad turn is really devastating, especially because like the only impact you're going for is nuclear war. And I think that like insofar as you're conceding this mad turn, I don't think you really have access to much of that offense. Yeah, and I think that like he's winning the link, right? Your only argument here is that Trump doesn't take credit because the deal doesn't do anything, and I don't think that's enough to deal with the way in which like he's articulating the link in the 2NR, which is that like Trump will literally take credit and be like and tweet about it and be like, yeah, like I did that, and then everybody loves him, and I don't think you're like dealing with the like nuance of that. Yeah.
I also have one more thing to say. I think there was a true 1AR theory shell because I'm not being ridiculous this time, I promise.
Okay.
Because Ty said spikes bad and 1AR theory bad. The combination of those things means that AF never gets access to any theory, so the neg can do whatever they want. That is a 30-second shell, which is true, and there are paradigm issues set up for you. You should have read that. There is no true response to that shell.
Also,
have
agent
said.
counterplans are illegitimate.